Jack. I'm all the way in Australia. And I just want to let everyone know that I found Lisa last year. And it's literally been a year now that I've been on the campus. 1 year. 1 year I was in the event that Lisa hosted last year. And I made the decision to travel all the way over there from Australia. And I was just at a position in my life where I was struggling massively. I've been in a 5-year ditch, just struggling so much with my life after my mum transitioned, living in guilt, living in blame, living in shame, but I wanted to do more with my life. And I got into radical action. Exactly what Lisa said is exactly what I did. And I flew over there. I saw Lisa. I wanted to see if she was the real deal. I wanted to touch her and go belly to belly with her because I was looking for a mentor. And I was looking for someone that was 20 steps ahead of me that could show me how to start building my business and getting into action and knowing what to do, because I didn't have a clue what to do. All I knew is I had a message in my belly. I had a desire to inspire and empower my world, and I wanted to get out there and start doing it. And I did. I committed. I got straight into Lisa's top tier program. I joined Speakers Mastermind right there when I was in LA last year. And then I went for it. I come back to Australia and I just got into action. And at the time I was working in a job that I hated. I was just in a really toxic environment. I was living as a victim, and I got into action, man. And I went straight back to Australia. I hosted my first speaking event. I hosted my first workshop, and then I just went for it. And now it's only been 1 year. 1 year. I started my own business. I launched my business in COVID, and I had my best month this month. I just did my first $10,000 month. So I want to talk figures just to let you guys know. It's only been a year. It's only been a year, but I'm running my own business. I'm the man, I'm running the show, and I'm inspiring and empowering my world. And I didn't know how it was gonna happen, but it's just step by step, being consistent, continuous action. And Lisa said one thing to me. She said, I remember it so clearly, Lisa, you said, I'm a good horse, but you gotta back the jockey. I remember you said that, Lisa, and that stuck with me. And I said, I'm a good rider. I'm a good rider, and I back.
You give me chills, brother. You give me chills. You give me chills.
Well, you stirred me up. You stirred me up. You ignited my flame. So I just want to let everyone know that if you were struggling in life, if you were challenged in life, it's time. You can get into action right now and transform within the next year.
Oh, you know, I haven't said that in a while because I don't just. It's not a shtick. I don't just say it. But you said. I want to repeat what you said because that it stirred my soul. Jack was telling me about how powerful I was and how he was excited to learn from me and how he'd been waiting to get to me. And I said, Jack, I'm the horse, and the horse is important, but the horse don't win the race. The jockey, you the jockey, bet on the jockey. And I told him, don't bet on the horse, bet on the jockey. And brother, it feels so good to hear you replay that back to me. I didn't know about your big month. You are a long way away from 12 months ago.
Long way away. Long way away. I remember you called me up on stage, Lisa, and I shrunk.
You did. You did. Show me. You're not shrinking now. You showing up big time. Yeah. And I love it because that's why you're here. You're here, and every advocate is here because they just want to be an advocate for whoever else, if you're ready to come. And so, Jack, thank you for staying up late hours, ridiculous hours over in Australia. Thank you for being on 2:00 a.m. training calls with us. Thank you for everything you've had to do, because I know that your conviction and your convenience don't live on the same block, and you have not tried to be convenient about your conviction to helping every single person that steps into the space decide, help, feel comforted about their decisions. So thank you, brother. I cannot wait to see more from you. Someone told me once, they said, Lisa, sometimes it becomes a bit more challenging for us to see ourselves in you. You've been doing it so long, and we've looked up to you, and we need other people. And I'm coachable. So I want to bring to you people that remind you of you even more so. I'm your sister. I'm always going to be your sister. But please welcome to the stage, Dr. Katrina in the house.
I'm so excited to be here. So excited to see all of you. So excited that you decided to be a part of Powerhouse Speakers. I promise you, your life will never be the same again. And as your action, advocates really here to help ensure that that is the case. We're going to help you. We're going to help guide you. We're going to help you get started. And most of all, we're going to help you to stay in action. So before I met Lisa, I'd made 7 figures in the network marketing industry. I was having a lot of success as a single parent mom, and that was a part of my story. You know, when you get tired of begging people basically to help feed your kids, you find a way to make some things happen. You know, when you realize that the only hand you really need is the hand at the end of your sleeve, you begin to connect with people who have that same belief system. But I got to a situation after 15 years where I ended up having to leave this company. Something happened and it really assaulted everything that is Katrina Ferguson. And so I ended up leaving. I was damaged. I was hurt, but I was still doing the work. Anybody ever been in a situation where things in your life are crazy, but from the outside, it looks like you're crazy successful? You know, we have 4 best-selling books going on. We had all of these speaking engagements, audiences of as many as 15,000 people, but inside I was hurt. I was broken. I felt like I didn't want to do it anymore, but I knew that it was my purpose and my destiny to continue. And I had an appointment to be on a stage with the incredible Lisa Nichols. And the night before the event, they called and they said, you know what, you're going to have to pay. And I was like, I'm not going to pay, you know, over $1,000 for 25 minutes. Because I knew what I was going there for. It wasn't for me to speak. It was for me. It was a destiny appointment with Lisa Nichols. And I went and I sat on the front row. I played full out the entire event.
Yellow.
I played out the entire event. And I actually got the opportunity afterward to sit down with Lisa and an action advocate. Her name was Narelle. I will never forget her. We're still close to this day. And in the process of just listening to Lisa's heart, she spoke directly to what my ailment was. She had exactly what I needed to move to the next level. And she invited me to a retreat out of the country, and I went. She said, well, there's another one a couple days later, and I went to that one too. And literally, my entire life began to shift. I started to see my reason why, the reason I was here. I started to have fire again. I started to believe in myself again. You know, when on one of those retreats in Barcelona, I shared the story that I actually got my twerk back, right? I got my dance back in this process, and the relationships that have been built. This year in a pandemic where a lot of people are sitting at home wondering how we're going to make make changes. How are we going to feed our kids? Well, just a couple of conversations, a couple speakers, masterminds, and events that I was at with Lisa, and I had the bomb idea, went out the first month, earned $30,000 just continuing to help people. So if you find yourself in a position, even in this environment, where you really, really need to create change in your life, you know, I understand. I've been the single parent mom trying to feed her kids. I have been the grandmother with kids and family who have needs. I'm the matriarch of my family. It's a huge responsibility. Anybody have responsibility for your entire family? You know, anything happen, they're coming to you. Well, you need some people around you that you can take off your cape. A place that you can go and be around like-minded people who are here to support you, to love on you, and to lead you in the right direction. Why? Because they've already been there and they understand. And that's what I found here at Motivating the Masses.
I was a successful entrepreneur, and I had the awards, and I had the credibility, I had the impact, but I didn't have the ability to speak beyond the 4 walls that I had been speaking to for, at that time, 15 years. I didn't know how to make money when I wasn't speaking. I wanted to be a speaker, but it was soon I realized I'm only making money on stage. I didn't have a platform to back me up. I didn't have a foundation. I remember being really lonely after making it to the top in my journey. You know, I felt lonely as a mom. I felt lonely as a woman. I felt just trapped, and I needed the tools and the skills. I didn't know how I was going to move forward, and finding Lisa was that for me, but really staying open. I had a really hard time being fully seen. Some of that was ego, and a lot of that was fear. when you have the right tools, when you start incorporating all of these puzzle pieces to the science of speaking, when you understand every single time we open our mouth, we are selling and speaking. We're using techniques. We are influencing. We are massively impacting people by the words that we say, the pauses we take, the tones that we use. So coming from a spot where I was very, very successful and trying to transfer that success over to the speaking, the author, the growing a giant social media following, it wasn't transferring over because I didn't have the language. I didn't have the tools. And I felt defeated. I felt lonely in the sense of, could I be successful in something new? And here's what it took. It took me stepping back. It took me lowering my ego. It took me being a student. So walking onto this campus, we have to speak at a moment's notice. And one time, there was a poet. In fact, just a really great speaker. He has spoken for the Grammys. He's a poet, world renowned. And, Lisa had told us, always be ready, right? Always be ready. We've taught you the techniques. We're not going to give you a warning. And they would sometimes draw our name throughout. And his name was drawn, and he had this powerful talk. I mean, he had visuals. He would be like a lion, and he had these visuals. And the whole time he was speaking, it was probably 5 minutes, maybe 3. I thought, oh, please, God, do not let my name be John. Please do not let me have to talk after him. Sean drew my name somehow, accidentally. I don't know. We're debating on that. But here's what I learned. I learned we all have such a powerful story. I learned my story as a mom and helping my daughter overcome her diagnosis. Building a business essentially from scratch. I didn't have any mentors at the time, to now coming onto this campus. My story was just as powerful as his story. I wasn't going to speak at the Grammys, but I was a mom that helped my daughter overcome and live her life under the most devastating circumstances, and all odds against me and against her. And that was just as powerful. And when you can tap into that power in your soul, when you can tap into that power using the science, these exact tools to bring out that story and that fire and that message. So many of you on feed right now, I have a message in my belly. I want to share. I need to get it out. It's needed. We need you in this world right now. We need you in this world. 3 years ago, I hosted my first event, and Lisa, I mentioned, was the keynote speaker. I was terrified, absolutely terrified. And I was terrified because not only was it my first live event, it was an event where Lisa was coming and essentially being there the entire day. We were piggybacking back and forth. Fearful. I decided, I'll tell you, I'd make fear your friend. It will never go away. It is brave to walk forward in fear. It is brave, and brave is not a feeling. It is a decision. And I made that decision to be brave. Took fear with me, spoke beside her, back and forth. We sold a program. It was 98% closing rate in the entire room because I listened to these techniques. I practiced in the mirror. I learned these techniques. So my income went from essentially 0 in this space because my costs were high, so I was meeting, to over 1,000% increase profit because of that one decision. So that's the story. I really wanted to share that, Lisa, and just the impact of what the science, the skills, where we can go no matter where we are in that pain of our journey.